All right, welcome back to Golf Subpar with Colt, Knost, and Drew Stoltz. Before we get going, Sleaze, introducing the RLX polo shirt, featuring the new True Stay collar from the RLX Fall 2024 collection. The RLX True Stay collar for performance polo shirts offers a sophisticated blend of style and functionality, perfect for both the course and everyday wear. Its innovative design features a removed hidden button, delivering a sleek, streamlined appearance that enhances the shirt's overall tailored look. Additionally, the collar is reinforced with advanced materials, ensuring it maintains a crisp, pristine shape even after prolonged use. Whether you're navigating the greens or heading to casual meeting, this collar combines elegance with enduring performance, keeping you looking sharp and polished throughout the day. Ralph Lauren is the official outfitter of the United States Ryder Cup team and partner of the AJGA. Ralph Lauren is proud to continue its sponsorship of golf ambassadors Andrea Lee, congrats on the Solheim Cup, by the way, Billy Horschel, Davis Love III, Devin Bling, Doc Redmond, Jonathan Bird, Mega Gane, Nick Watney, Sean Foley, Smiley Kaufman, Todd Anderson, Tom Watson, Trevor Werbelow, Troy Taylor III, Tyler Strafacci, and Zach Johnson. The RLX collection is available in select Ralph Lauren stores, exclusive private clubs and resorts, and online at ralphlauren.com.
Boom. There you have it. Get you some.
Yes, and once again, congrats to the Women's Solheim Cup team, the United States. 3-point victory over Europe. It got tight there coming down the stretch. Some quality golf being played. It was a lot of fun to watch out there at Robert Trent Jones. Also, shout out to Charlie Hall. I love her.
She got it done.
I'm not encouraging smoking cigs or anything like that, but she's just
there. You are.
She's just got this presence about her that I love. She went out there and took care of world number one in the opening singles match. Nelly Korda beat her 6-4.
Yeah,
it was special, but it was a lot of fun to watch both those teams battling out. First time since 2016, the U.S. has won the Solheim Cup.
Yeah, broke the winless drought, and also you're right about Charlie. It's, if you're a golfer and you want people to like just kind of automatically like you, just smoke. That does it. The Rat was extremely likable. Daily people love it. Charlie people eating it.
Spencer Levine
eating it up. Spence back in the day too. Although he's off that. Congratulations to you, Spence. But that's pretty much it. Blow some clouds and people are like, I like that. I want that. It's like they're still good even when they do that. Respect.
I like it. Speaking of winless droughts, Patton Kizzire at the Pro Court Championship out in Napa broke a 6-year winless drought. Gets his third win on the PGA Tour. Just absolutely ran away from the field. Got close for a second there with David Lipsky on Sunday, but for the most part, Patton in full control. We've had him here on the pod, so another win for Golf Subpar. But congrats to him on breaking that winless drought and honestly turning his season around. The fall is when you can, if you had a rough season, this is where you can really move up. Make sure you get in that top 125 to keep your job. If you can get in the 51 to 60 area, get in those first two signature events, it's huge. This moves him up to 70, but also gets him into Maui. 2-year exemption. This is huge.
It's a breath of fresh air. He can finally take a load off. I mean, last year he finished up outside the top 125. Had lost his full status for the first time in a while, had to play out of the conditional category, and then boom, to go through that, come back, win now, 2 years, all the bells and whistles that go with it. This won't be the last one of those during the fall series. Like, I know they tried to, I like that the schedule's on a calendar year again. It makes it way easier to kind of track and stuff, but they tried to add some juice to these fall series events where guys are playing for their jobs and things like that. So there'll be more like feel-good stories coming out of this fall.
Yeah, you'll see some guys that will revive their career or get their career going. Some young guys that maybe didn't get off to the best start on the PGA Tour in their rookie year. They go out there and they win in the fall, and all of a sudden their whole career trajectory changes. But congrats to Patton Kizzire. Awesome to see him win. And we had ourselves a week. Nobody won. Bunch of ties up there.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, but we were up at Whistling Straits, played the Straits golf course, had a battle there at 7:20 a.m., first group off with our man Mike. We had a blast. And also got to go over and play the Bass, the par 3 course, which every golf resort in the world should have a par 3 course.
Yeah, it's the ultimate like end of the day hang. I think you just play that thing till the lights go out. Some places have lights, and it's quick, fast, easy gambling, having a few pops. It's awesome. That one was great too, by the way.
All right. Well, here's our recap of our couple of days up at Colt with Golf Kohler at Whistling Straits. All right, what a day it was out at Whistling Straits. Special thanks to Golf Kohler. We had an amazing time. 18 holes over at the Straits course. Came over here to Black Wolf Run, played the Bass par 3 course. We had ourselves a day, Sleaze.
Had ourselves a day. By the way, 28 holes.
28.
10 holes here at the Bath. All day battled to a push. A little bit disappointing in that regard, but a couple champions like ourselves, well deserved, good playing. This was my first time, our first time up here We'd been here for the Ryder Cup, but it didn't get to experience and didn't get to play it. I was blown away by how good it was this morning. Granted, we had a postcard day. I mean, the wind at the most blew 8 at the end. I mean, it was nothing. Dead calm on the front 9. That golf course is hard enough when it's like it was today. If you get that thing blowing 20-ish plus, I could see where that would be a monster. And I'm personally glad we didn't have that today.
Yeah, we basically played in a dome all day. First group out, cruised around at about 340. Had ourselves time, made some birds, made some bogeys. Like you said, came to a push, but can't thank Golf Kohler enough. This is just an amazing property. If you're doing a guy's trip up here, come stay at the American Club, play a few days of golf. I mean, you will not regret it. It is a special place. I can't wait to come back on a guy's trip. I mean, we're sitting here right now over here at the bass course. There's this massive putting green where I feel like some cash could be exchanged.
This is the biggest putting green I've ever seen in my life. This is a perfect, like, end of the day cap with the boys on the golf trip. You play 18 somewhere, come over here. You can play this thing till it gets dark. They got music out here the whole time. It's just a fun vibe. They got transfusion slushies.
Good job,
by the way. I use the full name. It's an incredible hang, and yeah. But when you put these two courses at Black Wolf and the one, Whistling Straits over there, it's a great spot for a guy's trip.
Yeah, I can't wait to come back. But we're not finished yet, because we got a little spa day tomorrow.
I cannot wait to get rubbed on by somebody.
Couples massage, or are we going to have our own?
I think side by side, holding hands, I think feels right. You know what I mean? With some cucumbers over the eyes. This is my, full disclosure, my first spa day in a good while. I'm looking forward to it.
Treat yourself.
I pity the fool. I pity the young lady that has
to get your mind right before football on Saturday.
To dig into me. This is a great way to get zen before I lose 1 trillion bets on Saturday.
All right. Well, thanks again, Golf Kohler, everyone at Whistling Straits, Black Wolf Run,
yes,
American Club. Y'all were amazing. I can't wait to be back. So, ladies, I'm still a little shook from the missed birdie putt on the last to take down the title.
I'm still shook. Should have had it closed out 3-2, been done. Could have taken it an aloha press, but one of the great matches that has taken place at Whistling Straits. That will go down in history. It was decent golf, by the way.
It was. I got to give you some credit. You're not a morning guy.
No.
And you went out there and, you were 2 under par through 3 holes right out of the gate, just throwing everything at me. I was like, I'm going to get absolutely killed today.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a really good day. It was 3 under on the front 9. I was like, that felt like actual real golf. And then the back 9 happened. I do what I normally do, blow a good thing when it's happening. Exactly. Did see my swing on video for the first time in a long time. Was talking to you about this on the way home. I was like, what the fuck's happened to me? I think it was terrible. It was the worst looking golf swing in the world. I was like, how do I even get it around with that right now? It honestly is one of those things, like, you see yourself in the mirror like, oh, shoot, I got to make a change. After like a long night or something, this is one of those moments for me. I'm like, all right, it may be time to start trying to do some things. Because that thing looks, I hit it all right, but it looks not like it should look.
I think one of our wonderful listeners described it as Sleaze looks like he's chopping wood.
I'm going to give myself a little pass for the earliness, not being stretched out and all this stuff. But like, I hit it fine. I wasn't mad at that. But then when I saw it, I was like, is that?
Yeah.
What'd Mark do to this? Is some sort of Hollywood voodoo bullshit to make my swing look bad? But man, I got to fix it a little bit.
I'm with you. My swing feels absolutely terrible. And Whistling Straits is not a place you want to really play.
That place was fun.
We got so lucky.
Really fun.
That the wind blew about 4.
Surprised with it, or like pleasantly surprised. I thought it might just be like a beat you up, like, average guy would have a hard time getting around. And don't get me wrong, we got it on the day where you want to get it, but it was fun.
And for all those haters out there saying we played from like 6,500 yards, wrong. We played from 7,100 yards. We played we didn't go all the way back to the PGA and Ryder Cup tees, but we played from 7,100 yards.
It's either 7,150, like where we played it, or it's 78 something.
Yeah,
it's
and I'm not doing
a pretty
that
big gap, and it's like 720. It's like, what are we really trying to do here? And have with doubles, they move on to 12.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But can't thank Golf Kohler enough. That was so much fun. The American Club Hotel is amazing. Shocker, all the plumbing stuff is top of the line.
The shower took me 13 minutes just to figure out what was going on. It was coming at me from every direction. I really liked it.
But we talk about golf trips all the time. I mean, there at the American Club, they got a great bar, easy trivia game.
By the way, can we address that for a moment?
Sure.
Shocked the freaking world with a little trivia. We're like, hey, it's trivia night. You guys want to play? We're like, bet your ass we want to play. Are we the smartest guys in the world? Maybe, maybe not. But you know what? Scoreboard don't lie. And it was a huge trivia game. I mean, there must have been
huge.
There were dozens.
Huge shout out.
Dozens of people in that bar.
To our producer, Mark, who has a very weird / great knowledge of Will Smith movies.
Yeah, it will, if you're listening, restraining order maybe in order. There was like a faceless picture of a movie that Will Smith was in. And it was like, name that movie. And it was like, Wild Wild West, Independence. Like, you just knew him in two. I was like, I've never even heard. What was the one?
Wild Wild West, Pursuit of Happiness, and I Am Legend.
Yeah, I've only seen one of them.
I haven't seen any.
Mark, homeboy watches some movies.
He likes Will Smith.
But we're
apparently.
champions. We got $4 gift card, no big deal. 1-0 in career trivia.
Horse and Plow.
The Horse and Plow.
Yeah, but seriously, I mean, great bar there, great food, unless you need a fork. But great
spa. How about the spa? We got rubbed on a bit. That was
have
nice.
A nice little massage day. But the golf courses are awesome. It's a perfect place for a guy's golf trip.
It's really, really good spot for a guy's golf trip with some of the world class golf, like Blackwell. I think they have what our caddies told us. I believe is they have 2 of the top 6 or 7 toughest public golf courses in the United States. Right there.
I believe
one
it.
Whistling Straits, the other one Black Wolf.
We didn't get to play Black Wolf Run, but we drove around. I mean that.
Yeah,
wow, that place
that's more like I thought it was kind of on the coast, but it's more like tucked through the trees. Kind of your traditional style golf. Looked really, really good. And there's a bunch of dudes golf trips going on up there while we were there.
We should also give a little shout out to our caddies, Trevor and Nick. By the way, Nick, we're walking down the 11th hole, the par 5, and he goes, "Got a little inside info for you." I was like, "Oh, really? What's that?" He goes, "Taking Oregon State heavy over Oregon." I was like, that's the inside info?
What's the
he goes,
inside part?
Heavy. By the way, they didn't cover.
Got dump
Wasn't even
trucks.
close.
Dump truck.
Come on,
by
Nick.
the way. Hey, shh.
Yeah.
We got a little inside scoop for you. What's that? I like the beavers.
So good.
That's it? That's the end of the
dying.
inside tip?
I was dying.
Not
Nice
so-and-so's
pick, Nick.
hurt. No, nothing. Just
No.
I like the beeves.
Oh, that was
shout
great.
out, Nick. They were great, by the way.
We had a lot of fun up there. This episode this week is awesome. One of the greatest caddies to ever walk the planet. He's currently in the midst of a little bit of a heater with his fellow named Scottie Scheffler. We got Ted Scott joining us. This one does not disappoint. Here he is, Teddy Scott on Golf Subpar.
Okay, our guest this week has had himself a tidy little 2024. He was part of 7 wins on tour, an Olympic gold medal, tour championship, got himself another Masters flag. The kid is running hot right now. We got Scottie Scheffler's bag man, Teddy Scott, in the house. Ted, how we doing, brother?
Man, say that all again. That sounds good.
That's
I like
a
the sound
long
of that.
intro.
I guess
That's a
I'm doing all
lot,
right.
lot of stuff to rattle off for y'all.
Yeah, things are going okay, Teddy. Congratulations, seriously, on a great year. I mean, this has been absolutely incredible. I want to go back to when Scottie Scheffler first called you, because I know you were kind of in the process. You were with Bubba Watson for a very long time. You're getting into teaching, and then all of a sudden your phone rings, and it's Scottie Scheffler. Take us through that moment.
Yeah, I actually was trying to retire for the 3rd time from caddying, and I got another phone call. So it just keeps coming back to me. And I got a preemptive phone call from another friend who said, "Hey, you're about to receive a phone call from a really good player, but more importantly, he's a better person, and I really think you ought to consider it." And we were Scottie's partner at the Zurich Classic, so I'd only been around him for that week, and I think we played one practice round with him at Harding Park. So I knew he was a really nice guy. But I didn't know how good of a player he was. I didn't, really follow his junior career or college career, or any of that. But I kind of took the word of my buddy that called me and said, "Hey, this dude's special. I'm telling you, he's really good." So when he called me, I had a few questions for him, and I liked the way that he answered it. And then I just told my family, I said, "Look, we're gonna pray about it, because I don't know if I'm supposed to be caddying, but they apparently they had been calling agents trying to get me back on the road." So it was kind of a weird. My family was tired of me already. They're like, "You've been home for 2 weeks. We need to find you a job, bro."
Yeah, get out of here.
How long did you think on it before you eventually said yes?
2 weeks. We prayed about it for a week, and then my family all said yes. And then I said, "Well, let's do one more week to make sure." And they were all on board. So it was like, all right, I guess we're doing this. And then it didn't take me long to realize what a great golfer he was. The first week at RSM, I really was like, wow, this guy can play. And he's really good. And it's always different when you're walking with somebody every day in the practice rounds and whatnot, because, hey, guys, even I've shot a 65 in a tournament before. And the people that saw me that day might have thought I was good, but, the next day it was a 78. This guy's just so consistent. I was like, this dude's really good every single day. So that was pretty cool to witness.
What is it for, like, the people at home? you watch Scottie Scheffler, and he contends every week. He obviously won 8 times this year. But when people talk about him, it's nothing like crazy flashy, right? Like Rory McIlroy, it's all about his driver. Cam Smith, his short game is just ridiculous. Scottie, it's just like, yeah, he's really good. But like, what for you, what impresses you the most when you watch him play?
One of my best friends who gave me this hat, Servant, he's a pastor, and I coach him in golf, and he told me he's really good, like mentally. And he said, Ted, the best club I have ain't even in my bag. And I said, well, what is it? He said, it's my mind. And that's Scottie's best club. I mean, the guy just thinks through things really well. He handles pressure really well. He's super smart, very golf smart, super disciplined. And I think that all starts in your head, and you can't measure that. So it's hard to put something tangible like that, on paper that you can't see. So I think that's his best quality. And then, he's highly skilled at every aspect of the game as well. And I guess because he doesn't run around doing fist pumps on the green, he doesn't seem flashy, but man, hitting it down the middle and on the green on every hole is pretty flashy if you ask me.
Yeah, you don't have to clean a very big area of that golf club very often.
No, sometimes I get mad at him because he's not hit it close enough to the sprinkler heads that I'm wanting to walk it off of. I was like, buddy, the sprinkler head's over there. What are you doing on this hole? But he's pretty consistent at doing his job. So
he could probably hit it there if you told him where it was off the tee. He'd get closer than anybody else. I can tell you that. But Ted, I want to go back 3 years ago. Okay, Scottie was the controversial pick, if you will, for the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits. Goes out there in the singles, plays then world number 1 Jon Rahm, wins that match, comes out the next season, and then boom, it's the Scottie Scheffler that we see right now. He's winning everything. How important was that match to his psyche?
Yeah, I wasn't caddying for him, but obviously I think the pressure of a Ryder Cup is probably the most pressure that I've felt, as a caddy, even just because I think you're trying to win for everybody else, and when it gets close, you're like, man, this is really important, and you're not playing for money. So I think there's a tremendous amount of pressure, and anytime you can step up to that pressure, especially being a rookie on the team, a rookie on tour, and do what he did, I can't imagine that it would do anything but boost your confidence. But that was one of the things he told me on the phone call, and like I said, it goes back to his mind. He said, I love the big moments, and you have to love the big moments. If you don't, then don't get in the big moment, if you don't like it, because you're going to feel the stress, and you have to enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll say this. He never looks stressed. No matter, I think the most stressed I've ever seen him is when he was trying to figure out how big a lead he had at Augusta the first time y'all won there on the 18th green.
Yeah. Well, that was my fault. I totally distracted him. I said, because I'd heard another caddy told me one time, said, we had like a 4-shot lead at Augusta. So I told my pro, you go ahead and walk and just take it all in. And I was like, that's really cool, man. He let his pro go by himself and walk. And I said, I'm going to do that if I ever get that opportunity. And sure enough, we get up there and I'm like, hey, man, take it all in, buddy. This is pretty sick, So he's walking and kind of looking, and it's neat. And then we both stood on the front of the green while Cam was putting. I was like, this is pretty special, man. And next thing you know, he's sword fighting. And hey, let's not take it all in yet. Let's take this putt into the hole, and then we'll take it in. So,
I like that. Let's not take it all in.
Sword fight, soak up the moment, You don't know when you're going to get it again, although he did. Do you think because of the thing you said earlier, like he's not fist pumping, he's not crazy, he's not flashy, but he's the best, and he's dominantly the best right now. Do you think we'd take him, or the golf media, golf world, I guess, takes him for granted because he doesn't have that like flash, that spark that that draws attention to himself?
Yeah, I think sometimes people that are fiery or wild outwardly, they attract more attention. It's entertainment, right? And I think the true golf enthusiast can appreciate how good Scottie is. And oftentimes when we play with other players who are great players, they make little comments like, wow, this dude is so good, because they see it and they appreciate how hard he's worked to develop the skills that he has, and how, he chips in on 10 times on me every year by March. And, he hits the ball close from 200 yards, 100 yards, 50 yards, 250. It's like, dude, what does this guy not do? So I think that as a golf enthusiast, you can really appreciate it. But sometimes maybe from an entertainment standpoint, the media probably does miss out on it some.
Can you share with us that 10 in, 10 hole out bet? And are you thinking about changing the line possibly for next year? Because I think this year it was over in like May.
Yeah. He beat me. He beat me at the Players Championship the last 2 years. So yeah. Yeah, it's just something that I knew right away that he was super competitive. It didn't take me long to just see the fire that burns inside of him. And so as a caddy, I just try to think of ways to bring that out in him. And sometimes the distraction of competing for something else can distract them from the pressure of, the big moment. And so I kind of thought early on, like, what's a fun game I could come up with that this dude would be all in on? And it would, if he has a hard chip, he's not thinking about, oh, I hope I can make a par. He's thinking about taking my money. And so that's all the purpose of it behind it, was just to give him something. It's like, hey, you got 8, this is a good opportunity here. And he loved it. He was all over it. And of course, when he chipped in, not this year, but the previous year on hole 2 to beat me, he literally said, "Where's my money?" But that was the second time he chipped in that day. And I was like, I wasn't planning on you chipping in twice today. I don't have your money, sir.
That's great. I think you should talk to his financial advisor, Frank, and maybe up that to 20 next year.
Yeah,
because it's just getting ridiculous. Yeah. Maybe give yourself a chance.
That's right. Yeah, literally. It's pretty fun.
What event was it over by? Do you remember the 10th one this year? How long did it take?
I think it was the Players both the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think
that's March.
Yeah, it's an early one.
And then when he holed out on Sunday on 4, that was the beginning of the next round. So we do another 10.
Oh, it goes
but
another
he loses
round.
motivation. He loses motivation after the first round. He really does. Probably because I don't pay him. So I do pay him, but I'm slow to pay. I'm like, I know I made this bet, but that's a lot of cash to give out. I got kids, man.
Where would you rank that final round 64 at the Players when he came from behind? I mean, he chased down Wyndham Clark and Xander Schauffele. The leaderboard was loaded. He goes out there and shoots 64 on that Sunday. Where would you rank that round as far as best rounds you've seen him play?
The best round I've ever seen him play was on Saturday. The guy had about a 5% chance of moving his neck and was hitting it, way shorter, hitting one extra club into every green and still playing Scottie Scheffler golf. And that was impressive. And he could start moving a little better on Sunday. So that was obviously amazing. But I will say that, it's certainly not to discount anything, but I think you guys have seen it enough in golf. There's a freedom that comes from being behind. I think the round he played on Sunday this year at the Tour Championship was way more impressive. I told him after he finished that putt off on 18, I said, look, people say sleeping on the lead is a hard thing. You slept on the lead for about 8 months, so it's a tough round of golf, especially with the previous 2 years leading. So I think being ahead is way more difficult.
Yeah, I just think we get spoiled. Obviously, growing up in the Tiger era where he won every single week, but to see Scottie go out there and, the 8 wins are impressive, but I think it was 17 top 10s in 20 events. Like, as a caddy, it's just like you don't even have to set an alarm on the weekend, dude. You get to sleep till noon every day.
Yeah,
it's nice.
That's a fact. Yeah, it's actually a little bit frustrating whenever he hits it in the rough. I was like, what is this, dude? He's like, is this going to be a flyer, not flyer? I'm like, I don't know. Quit hitting it over here. I'm not used to this, so it's frustrating.
At the U.S. Open on the weekend, you had to be,
that?
Yeah, exactly. You had to be like really pissed at the U.S. Open when you had to get up so early on the weekend.
I did, man. That was bullcrap.
Yeah, I don't even know they teed off before noon on the weekends.
Do they even tee off this early?
Yeah.
No, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun to watch someone at the peak. I was fortunate to watch Bubba at his best. He got the second in the world, and to stand there in front of the best player in the world and watch him hit every shot from a front row perspective is very special. It's quite a feat that he's accomplishing, and it's great to just stand there and watch him do it. I'm very thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, he makes it look easy. It's honestly frustrating watching. He makes the game look so simple. Go back to that Tour Championship for just a second, Ted. You talk about, dude, sleeping on a lead's tough. You did it for 8 months. When you guys won that thing at the end, do you think it was more joy or was it more relief? Because virtually everyone expects Scottie, especially with a lead in that system, to win that thing. But it's not foregone conclusion, like you mentioned last 2 years.
Yeah, we lost the lead at the first hole. You know what I mean? Yeah. We were tied with Xander after hole 1. So I think it was relief. We won a lot, and I think that it's hard for a really great athlete to make something important that everybody else makes important. They're self-driven. To be that good, you have to be very self-motivated and self-driven. And Scottie is certainly that. And I've never heard him talk about money. I've never seen him bring his Masters jacket somewhere to dinner or show it to somebody or a trophy. He's just that guy that has a burning desire to compete at anything. And I think with all the talk about the FedEx Cup and he's got to win and he's supposed to win, it's almost hard for him to get motivated because it's like, you almost feel like, man, I live my own life. I do this for me, not for y'all. So it's a weird dynamic. I mean, it's by far the most stressed I've ever felt as a caddy. And it doesn't change either one of our lives, but it's like, you just feel like, man, I just want to get this monkey off his back. So I felt a lot of relief, and I assume that he did too. I know he was exhausted for the last few months, being in Europe for 3.5 weeks, and then the FedEx Cup, run after about a 6-day trip home. That was a lot. So yeah, I would say relief.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with having the lead the 2 years before, not getting it done. Then he goes in there and he handles his business, and he ran away from the field. It was very impressive. I want to go to the Olympics because that was a different side, I think, of Scottie Scheffler that a lot of people had never seen before. Go out there, I think it was, once again, a final round 64 on a really tough golf course, wins the gold medal. Y'all win the gold medal, and then got a lot of attention because during the closing ceremony, during the medal presentation, when they started playing the national anthem, I mean, he broke down into tears.
Yeah, I would find it hard to believe you'd find a player that loves America more than Scottie. Maybe as much, but he loves the USA. He's all team red, white, and blue, and loves to compete in the Ryder Cup, the President's Cup, winning a medal for his country. I mean, that was very special for him. And my favorite part of that day was, we get to 15, and he's got tough little pin, over water. The safe thing to do is to fly it to the pin and putt back to it. Not Scottie Scheffler. He bounces it in there a foot because he's so good at distance control, taps that in. Now we get to 16, and it's over water. If you go at the pin, you can go left and have a safety measure. And I'm looking at the wind, and it's like we need a little bit of help, with our 9-iron. And I'm kind of going, man, the wind's helping. It's not. It's helping. It's not. It's kind of teetering back and forth. And so I said, hey, right at that security guard, 15 feet left of the pin. And he goes, okay. And he hits it, and it lands a foot from the pin, and he walks over with this crazy psycho look on his face, and he goes, you didn't really think I was going to take it at the security guard, did you? And I said, well, a caddy can dream. So that's when I knew he was in it. It was like he's hunting down the pins, man.
When did you think in that final round that you guys had a legitimate chance to win the gold? Because, I mean, starting the day, the narrative was like, oh, Scottie, looks like he could get on the podium. But gold seemed like a big-time stretch.
Yeah, it was like, all of a sudden he started making birdies at the end, and they started faltering. And I was like, oh, my gosh, we're in this thing for the gold potentially. So it turned quickly when he knocked it stiff on 15. And then when he had that putt on 16, I was like, man, we really have a chance now. And he made that one. And then when the putt went in on 17, I was like, man, he's going to be hard to beat because those closing holes are difficult. And like I said, golf's always harder with the lead. It's just like you watch the NFL and the team that's up by throwing the ball for the first 3 quarters, they start running the ball once they get the lead, and then it gets difficult. It's hard to free it up and let it go sometimes. So, those closing holes at Golf National is very difficult. So we thought we had a good chance after that.
That was cool to watch. That was probably the most animated I've ever seen him on a golf course. You could tell what it meant. Important question for you, though, Ted. Should caddies also receive a medal?
Yes.
Because we've had this debate before. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, it's a strange question, but I would say I would feel uncomfortable if they gave me a medal. I kind of feel like, yeah, we're a part of the team, but me personally, I was thinking like if they said, hey, you and Scottie go stand up here together and get medals, I would feel really strange, because I definitely think we can help. And Scottie said some really sweet words to me. That was probably my 25 years of caddying, the best job I've ever done at kind of flipping my guys' thought process that week on Friday. And he shared that with me in a really loving way. And so that meant a lot to me. But even that little bit that helped, I just don't see that I help enough to receive a medal. That's just me personally, and some people say that's bull crap. But, at the end of the day, I mean, this guy is just so good at golf. And I almost feel like, hey, if grandma could give him a pep talk, he's going to win tournaments. So, if she could carry clubs and give him a pep talk, he could have her do it. He's that good.
Yep, he is special, and that was a special week. But I think whether you're a golf fan or not, you always tune into the Masters. And you've been a part of 4 wins now around Augusta National. By the way, trivia question, do you know where you rank on the list as far as caddies with the most wins?
I think there's 2 people that have 5, and I'm tied with Steve Williams.
You are correct.
Wow, student of the game.
Willie Pappy Stokes and Willie Peterson. So maybe you start going by Willie Scott. You'll take it over and get that next
sign
one.
Me up, coach. Sign me up.
What for those? I mean, you arrive. It's one of the most special weeks of the year on the most iconic golf course in the world. What's it like for you as a caddy leading into Masters Week and getting ready to go?
Man, as a kid, I watched it with my dad. I love it. Like everybody else, it's one of the toughest tickets in sports to get. So there's a lot of exclusivity to even be able to go watch it. So to be inside the ropes on the grounds, it's special just to be there. And I get pumped up, and I want to work extra hard that week. I try to rest well the week before and really get my mind prepared. And it helps when you have a player like Scottie and a player like Bubba who love creativity. Both of them are very creative players. And that place requires tremendous creativity. And it also requires very accurate iron play. People talk about putting, but you can't putt well at Augusta if you don't hit it on the right area. And so you really have to get dialed on that. And both of those guys were good at it. So for me, it's an exciting week because I know we have a chance. Just showing up, you're like, hey, this is a week my guy could win this tournament. And if you show up with somebody that not real creative with short game and doesn't have great iron play, it's like, yeah, it's fun to be here, but they're probably not going to have a good chance at competing, unless they can do those two things. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, and speaking of creativity, can we go back to 2012? You're on the bag for Bubba Watson. We got the playoff with Louis, 10th hole. Everyone knows the shot there. It's one of the most remarkable shots I've seen. Talk me through what that conversation was like when you all got down there and Bubba was like, hey, I think I can sling gap wedge, I believe it was, or whatever, and hook it 30 yards.
Yeah, I remember when I first started working for Bubba, my dad came. My dad lives near New Orleans, and Bubba played in the New Orleans tournament. And Bubba said, hey, have your dad just come out in the fairway and walk with us. And so my dad just said to Bubba randomly, he's like, Ted tells me you can hook the ball really far, like hit a big old hook. And so Bubba said, yeah, you want to see one? He goes, sure. So he literally dropped a ball in the middle of the fairway with a pitching wedge and hit like a 50-yard hook on command right in the middle of the green. And my dad's eyes were this big because he's a big fan of the game. And he was like, that was incredible. I've never seen anything like that. So, for Bubba, that's just a normal way to playing golf. I mean, he would, when the pin was on the right on 14 in the middle of the fairway, we would hit huge duck hooks into that green, landed in the middle of the green, and then spin it down towards the pin. So it's kind of the way that he plays golf. So when we get over there, I know it's not to discount the shot, but it wasn't as impressive to me as it is to everybody else because they're not used to seeing that. I was so used to seeing that. The only question I had was what club is going to be the right club. That was it. That was the only decision we had to make. The ball was above his feet. The lie was good. There was a huge opening. And you have a guy that loves to hook the ball from the middle of the fairway. So it's like, perfect. This is not a bad thing, So it was just a matter. The only conversation was what club do I think? And he hits a pretty straight gap wedge, 135, and the pin was 165. So we're like, okay, let's just take the club that, would go to the front of the green, and your hook should get us beyond that and probably not over. And it ended up working out really well.
I know it doesn't impress you that much, but to do it in that moment, I mean, it's one thing to do it on a Tuesday. But in a playoff to win the Masters, I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely the moment. And I've always equated the story to Tiger Woods when he made the 8-foot putt against Bob May to get in the playoff at Valhalla. I could teach my daughter who doesn't play golf in minutes, and she could probably make that putt in 1 out of 10 tries. So it's like what made that putt so special was how does Tiger keep doing this when it matters? So what made that so special to me was, wow, you did it when it matters. And yes, I can't hook the ball that much. Most people can't. But when you caddy for somebody for that long and you see him hit that shot literally from the middle of the fairway half the time, a perfect example, Colt, because you live in Phoenix. If you go to the TPC out there and you get to hole 4, the par 3, when that pin's in the back right, nobody can access that pin because the greens get firm. Bubba will literally take a 9-iron and hit a 40-yard hook every year and land it on the front third of that green and one hop, bounce it, spin it back there inside of 10 feet every year. It's like I'm thinking one time he's going to overhook it in the bunker or leave it out, and every year he would get it back there tight. And I'm just going, how does he do this?
Yeah.
And it's like that's what he does, So for me, it was a normal golf shot that Bubba plays, but the special part of it was obviously the situation.
I only got to play with Bubba, I think, twice, and it was both practice rounds. And watching him curve the golf ball, I mean, it's so hard to explain because it's not little 5-6 yard draws or fades. I mean, it's 20, 30 yards that he moves it when you don't really even have to all the time.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories is we're playing in the featured group at Riviera, and we're on hole 1, and the wind's kind of neutral that day, and Dustin gets up first, and he hits a 5-wood to about 15 yards to the end of the fairway, and now they announce Bubba, and he tees up driver. And Dustin looks at me, he goes, "What is he doing?" And I said, "Just wait." And he started it in the middle of hole 2 and sliced it back about 4 yards in front of Dustin's 5-wood. And Dustin went, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, that's how he plays golf, man. Like, he just turns this club into whatever club he wants, you know? So, yeah, it's just how he plays. Pretty wild.
It's so fun to watch. It's like a throwback, but on steroids, back when they used to work the ball more, and Bubba's doing it, throughout the modern era. What's it like to caddy for that, though? Especially when you first start. Like, you got a distance. There's probably 3 different clubs he could hit, depending on what type of shot shape he wants. That's got to be brutal as a caddy when he's like, "What club you like?" I don't know.
It's impossible. The first 3 years, Bubba wasn't a great communicator. He got better over the years, but in the first 3 years, he would say to me, what club do you like? And I would say, "What kind of shot are you going to hit?" And he would reply, "I don't know." And I was thinking, well, if anybody needs to know what kind of shot he's going to hit, it's me, because exactly what you just said. It could be a 9-iron, it could be a 5-iron. I don't know what you're going to do here. But, what I started to learn was his tendencies based on the way the hole looked. So I knew, like, okay, this is a back right pin. He's probably going to want to skip it back there. So why don't we hit a low duck hook 9-iron and skip it back there? Oh, I like that. So you, as a caddy, I guess the thing about caddying is that they don't need to ask me, Colt, you don't need to ask me if it's an 8-iron when it's 150. It's an 8-iron. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, what to do, bro. But when you're nervous, you kind of want somebody to, is it an 8-iron? Yeah, of course it's an 8-iron. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know it's an 8-iron. I see right edge. You see right edge? Yeah, of course it's right edge. They need that backup sometimes, because when you're nervous, you got self-doubt, stress, whatever. So the thing for Bubba is, like, I had to start learning, how does he like to hit these shots, and just kind of use his language. I would say stuff like, "I like a dink cut driver." Why? Because that's what he says. So I'd put his own words back into his brain, and that way he's like, "Oh, yeah, I like that." Because I knew it was a dink cut driver. I knew that's what he wanted to hit just from observing it so much. So then I say it the way he says it, and then he loved it. So that was how I tried to caddy for him. And the latter years, he got better at communicating. So it was like, I could hit this or I could hit that. It's like, okay, that's much easier. But yeah, the beginning was very tough. And that's probably why it took him 4 years to win. It wasn't talent. It was just learning to control his mind and relax and believe in himself.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I know all about the dink driver, by the way, but you're probably the only caddy in professional golf to say to his player multiple times during a tournament, "Give me a duck hook here."
Yeah, that's a fact. That's right. From the fairway.
Yeah, just give me a duck hook 9
quack
iron
hook 9, dude. Right. It's perfect. Really?
Well, I feel like we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't ask about Valhalla this year, because it was obviously wild. Tons of attention with everything that happened. And I mean, it was a very sad thing that happened. But just take us through, like, when you found out what was going on with Scottie, getting arrested and all that, because I'm sure you were already at the golf course.
No, we were staying together 1 mile from the course in a neighborhood. They had rented a house. And the interesting thing is that Scottie, he leaves early because he's a routine guy. He's got to do all his things before workout, stretch, get food, do all the stuff he's got to do. Me, I just got to get there like 2 hours early. He's there 3 hours early. So I wasn't going to ride with him because it was an early tee time. And so when I woke up, probably 30 minutes after he had left, I got a text from one of my friends that said, "Sorry, bud." And I thought, okay, he knows that I'm going to visit my daughter tomorrow, and I'm not going to be able to caddy. And I thought, it's just a graduation. It's no big deal. So I put that on the text, and he goes, "No, Scottie." And I said, "Scottie what?" And he said, "Scottie got arrested." And I thought, yeah, right. Like, what are you talking about? And then I saw the text. The other text I had on my phone was, "There's been an accident at the beginning of the golf course. Be prepared for traffic." And I thought, oh my gosh, Scottie killed somebody, like, in his car. That was my first thought, was trying to put those two together. He accidentally hit somebody. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. So then I quickly got on, my phone and started trying to research, and then found out Scottie Scheffler had got arrested. And I'm like, for what? And it wasn't related to the accident. So yeah, it was a very stressful morning. I started calling, his family, his friends, trying to figure out what to do, how to help. Just crazy, how the whole thing went down. And at the end of the day, we look back and we see what a great character Scottie is. And it goes back to that original statement that my friend made when he called me and said, "Hey, you're about to receive a phone call from a player who's a better person than he is a golfer." And I also go back to the statement that his dad made when he became world number 1 at the match play at Dell. And they caught it on TV. And he said, "I'm more proud of you as a man than I am as you as a golfer." So, you know him well. You know what kind of guy he is. Just a great human. And so it's really cool to see his character shine above that situation, and the truth get revealed, and know that he even had such a good heart as to not sue the city, for what happened, which is very easy to do in that situation, to be emotional, because he knew it would affect the citizens of Louisville. So just a great guy. And, he definitely shined bright in the end.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, his presser at the end of that round, after he played, unbelievable, by the way. It was like that was a crash course, and here's how you handle it. It was one of the best things I've seen. In a situation that you don't prep for that one. You don't really know the kind of stock answers there, but he handled that beautifully. When you did find out,
you also got to give credit too, though, to Teddy, Brad Payne, Randy Smith, Blake, for like how they helped him handle that. Because I mean, like you said, you don't prepare for that stuff.
That's not something on the blueprint. Like, here's what we do just in case we get arrested before.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe some players are thinking that, but definitely not Scottie Scheffler.
When did you think, when you found out all this was real, oh my God, not only is this real, but they're actually taking him down and they're going to book him? Did you think, this is it, the tournament's over, there's no chance we're playing golf today?
Of course. And then I heard he's stretching in jail. I was like, this guy is nuts. What a psycho. But that just goes to show how competitive he is. And one of my favorite stories about him being competitive is him and Sam Burns were in the pool playing pool volleyball at his house during the Byron Nelson one year. And we made these rules up because it was 2-on-2, and we needed to kind of make the pool smaller. So we kind of had, this is out, but there's no like line in the pool. And Sam hit a lob over Scottie and I's head, and the ball ended up going kind of in that gray area. And Scottie's like, it's out. Sam's like, no, it's not, it's in. And they start arguing, and then they start throwing the ball at each other and then diving on each other. And I'm like, somebody's about to get hurt over pool volleyball. And literally it was not like, haha, it was like, I'm gonna kill you, They're best friends. I'm breaking them up, going, these guys are crazy. And that's when I realized how competitive he is. And to see him warming up in jail or hearing about that, I was like, this guy literally is ready to come play. I mean, that's amazing. I can't even fathom that process. In my head, I would have been broken, just from the whole scenario. So yeah, it was nuts. I never thought that was going to happen.
I think most people would be broken, and he comes out and birdies the first hole. It's like, really, dude?
Yeah, stones it on his third. Oh, it's like, well, same stuff.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Should we get to the E9?
Yeah, let's get to E9. Right. Do you ever look back, given the way these last few years have gone, and regret not getting into teaching? Could have been lucrative,
Yeah, that's right. Well, have you seen some of my students? I once helped a guy go from a 10 to a 15. So that was cool. That's probably my best. That's probably my best work, other than caddying. So yeah, it's probably
you're a real teacher. You're a real teacher. We just need more lessons. Keep coming back.
I think Ted Wardo is a much better teacher than Teddy.
Oh yeah,
no doubt. Ted Wardo. I need to bring Ted Wardo back.
Yes, you do. Because I was looking back at some of those videos last night. The one with Austin Johnson in Mexico. Golly, that is all time. Yeah.
He's hilarious. We had so much fun doing that, because they were telling us, like, don't leave the hotel. So that's when Ted Wardo started, because we were just trying to figure out, like, what can we do to entertain ourselves? So that week we were making Ted Wardo videos, and we were having a good time. The Brooks Koepka one's pretty good too, where he has his shirt off. You seen that one?
I saw the one where Bubba was. You said we learned from Brooks Koepka that you can lift heavy weights and still play good golf. And there's
that's
Bubba
it.
with
Brooks is in the background lifting 55s, doing curls and 55s with his shirt off. So that was a funny one.
Please bring those back. Please.
Yeah, I like it. I just need Scottie won't participate. He didn't want to take his shirt off. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Let's go.
Come on, dude. World number one. What are they going to make fun of you? I'll be like, so what? I'm the best player in the world.
You want to win the PIP, Scottie? Get involved with Ted Wardo.
That's a good point.
That's it. Let's go. I'll bring the mustache back. Mountain. That thing is terrible.
That's the last mountain to summit. All right, that PIP. Sometimes you gotta show some skin.
You got a pretty good gig going. But we're going to start this off with, if you could just be anyone for one day, just walk in their shoes for one day at any point in the history of time, who would it be?
Man, history of time. Gosh, that's a great question. The history of time. I would say one of the disciples of Jesus, maybe Peter, who walked on water.
I had a feeling it was going to be something along those lines.
Okay. That'd be good. If Scottie ever hits it in the drink,
yeah,
you should go out there and
walk
get it.
On water.
You know what I mean?
That's right. There's a great golf joke about that. We probably don't have time for that.
You are the king of jokes, by the way. What's your latest dad joke?
I got a lot of bad dad jokes, so I don't know. My kids get tired of it, so I don't know.
Do you watch those? Who are those two
Yeah,
guys?
two guys on the dock. Do you watch the two guys on the dock in Tahoe that just do the
Yeah,
dad
they're funny,
jokes?
man. I like
They're
those guys.
awesome. They're so good, dude.
They're so good.
So
I like when
good.
the athletes do it. Then when they're trying not to laugh, that makes me laugh even more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are good.
they grab a few of them for that Tahoe event and do it. It's awesome.
So good.
They're good. That'll give you endless ammo though to embarrass your
That's
kids
right.
if you need it.
Scottie gets tired of it. That was one of the first questions I asked him, by the way, when he asked me to caddy for him. I said, "How do you like dad jokes?" So you know,
And what was his answer?
you got to like them. If you don't like them, he said, "I can tolerate them." I said, "Okay, tolerant's good. That's good. Tolerate's a good word."
He wasn't a dad then.
I mean, just
Pretty soon he can be telling them himself.
by the way, think if he would have said no, you'd have been out immediately.
Oh, that's it. I was going to
Easily,
do
I've
it.
been done. It was a test. Trust me. There's a test. If I want to come work for this guy, you got to be able to listen to my garbage.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
that is
I was
hilarious.
going to loop for you, but I'm out. All right. Teddy, couple world titles that you've got. Which one means more, your Olympic gold in golf this year or your 1994 World Foosball Championship? I'm assuming this is real. The internet says it. Please let it be real.
Yeah, you want me to take you over to my foosball table right now and show you some action?
You got a setup right there? You're still in the game?
Yeah, it's right over there, man. I would say, obviously, helping someone win a gold medal would be way more significant than my world championship in foosball. But at the time, I was the king of the world when I won that in 94 with my partner, Terry Rue.
Terry Rue.
I didn't know
Yeah.
they had that. How do you get into the world championship? You got to like qualify, win a bunch of stuff, hustle a bunch of people at bars. What do you got to do?
Yeah, so there's 4 divisions in foosball. Now there's 3. And it's basically a ranking system. So it's kind of like, think about tennis has like 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 kind of stuff. So when I played, there was 4 divisions and we won the 2nd division. It was called amateur doubles. And then you can play as a pro, as an amateur, you can play in the pro division, but you can't as a pro play in the amateur division. So we won the 1994 World Amateur Doubles. We also won 3 state championships that year. And I finished 2nd in world singles that year and also won one state championship in singles. So it was a pretty spectacular year on the foosball table for me. And Terry Rue is now still competing. He's one of the best players in the world in the pro division, and his daughter is the best woman on the planet. She wins everything.
Oh my goodness.
Foosball.
Yeah.
He's a foosball family.
I mean, I think when it's all said and done, they're going to talk about Ted Scott's 1994 foosball season and Scottie Scheffler's 2024 season on the PGA Tour.
Absolutely. They're very similar.
I heard you got Azinger into it too when you were caddying for him.
I quit caddying for Grant Waite and I was going to go back into doing something different. And then Paul Azinger asked me to come caddy for him because he wanted me to teach him how to play foosball. So that's one of the ways that I got in. And my favorite part is I actually flunked out of college because I practiced so much foosball. I didn't go to class and I ended up flunking out of college. And my dad got very upset with me and told me I'd never be anything playing foosball. And whenever I got the job with Paul Azinger, who was one of his heroes, I said, "Hey, Dad, guess what? Foosball got me a job with Paul Azinger." So it was kind of funny.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
That's good. Fell out of college, just got addicted to foosball.
All right, well that
You
kind of
understand. Story as old as time.
yeah, that kind of covered one of mine there. So you mentioned Grant Waite. You were on the bag for him when in my opinion, one of the greatest golf shots that's ever been hit. Tiger Woods, 72nd hole, Glen Abbey, Canadian Open, out of the fairway bunker with a 6-iron. You're right there. You got to see it up close and personal. Where would you rank that as far as best shots you've ever witnessed in person?
It hurt, man. Hurt bad. That's how I'd rank it. Painful. When that thing came out, I was like, "Oh my gosh, we just won this tournament!" And then I was like, "Wait a second, this is right at the flag."
It's still
like,
going.
Are you kidding me? How is that good? Yeah, that was sick. I mean, especially that was a lot of pressure. I mean, that was the first time Tiger had played in Canada. I think the only time he played in Canada, and apparently he signed up because only Lee Trevino had won the British Open, the U.S. Open, and the Canadian Open. And he had won the British and the U.S. that year. So he decided, hey, I'm going to go play in the Canadian Open and try to get that record as well. And so to be tied for the lead with him, Grant shot 66, beat the tournament record by 3. And coming down the stretch, one-on-one with him was fascinating, to see, because so many people were out there just to watch Tiger in the greatest year he ever had. And then for him to hit that shot was just incredible. The pressure. When he was in that bunker, I was like, oh, and we were already on the green. I thought, man, we might have him. And, of course, we didn't. So pretty awesome.
That's one of the most remarkable shots I've ever seen, which leads to my next question, which may be a tough one to answer, but give it a go here. We've already covered a couple of them. You've seen some great shots over the course of your career, both by your players and just in the group, like with Tiger. Greatest shot you've ever witnessed in person?
Not even a contest. 2012 Masters by Bubba Watson. Not the one you're thinking of.
Really?
On Friday, Bubba was, I think, 3 under par. We got to hole 11. It's changed over the years, but he hit it in the right trees. We're 3 under par, which is great, going into the back 9. And he hit it in the right trees, and we get up there, and his ball, when I walk up to it in the trees, it looks like just imagine a golf ball in a bird's nest. Take a pine straw that a bird has made a nest in for its eggs. Take a golf ball and put it in there. That's exactly what the lie looked like. Fluffed up, completely surrounded by pine straw. And when we looked through the trees, we probably had 30 feet to get out of the trees and maybe like 15 feet high, 15 feet wide. We're looking left of the leaderboard, which is left of the water. And he's like, what do you think? And I said, let's just chip it out. This is one of the easiest pins to hit a wedge to on the course. Is that kind of middle right pin, short of the bunker. It's like, hey, chip it out. It'd be an easy wedge. We'll probably make par. If not, we're still 2 under. It's great, going in the back 9 kind of deal. And he goes, I'm known for hooking it, right? And I thought to myself, how are you going to get any spin on this ball? Like, there's no way any human being can spin this ball out of this lie. Impossible. There's no chance. And I tried to explain that to him. And he said, back up, man, I got this. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, we're hitting this in the water. There's no doubt the only place this ball is going to go is in the water. And sure enough, he gets up and hits this low duck hook 9-iron. It hooked so much, it actually caught the slope short right of the green, rolled down onto the front, and he 2-putted for par. And I was like, that is the greatest shot I've ever seen in my life. And to this day, I still don't understand how that happened.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even fathom that someone could do that. It was insane. I still don't believe it's possible. I'm like, I don't know how I even witnessed that.
We're going to hit this.
And he actually overhooked it from that lie because it caught those hills on the right. Yeah,
he did. Yeah. It was crazy. I mean, you can't hook it. I'll give anybody, we'll go put some balls down. I'll recreate the lie and show me a hook. You might get 5 yards on it. This dude duck hooked it out of there. I was like, how are you doing this?
Might have to go revisit that one on the YouTube machine.
That is really cool.
That's good. I would not have expected that.
All right. I'm not taking credit for this or blame for this. This is from another caddy. Just told me to ask you what you think of when you hear the name Shigeki Maruyama.
That's hilarious. I love that. The Shigeki Maruyama story is the funniest, man. Gosh, that's so good. I love Shigeki.
What happened?
So two things with Shigeki. We when Grant finished second in Canada the week before we played with Tiger, the next week, the week of Tiger, I went and got in a hot tub at my hotel, and it was like a 6-person, maybe an 8-person hot tub in a very small room, and it said like maximum capacity 8 people. And the door opened up, and 15 Japanese people walked in. I'm not even kidding. And I was like, oh, my gosh, they're not all going to get in here. And every single one of them got in this 8-person. And I'm like sitting side to side with them, and it's a round one. So I'm kind of just staring at the water in the middle. And I'm like, this is awkward, but I'm going to stay in here for a minute. And I look up, and there's Shigeki Maruyama. And I just started caddying, and I loved him. I was a fan of the game. And I was like, oh, my gosh, Shigeki Maruyama. So I was like, oh, hey, Shigeki. And he's like, oh, hello. And he says, you play golf? And I said, no, I caddy. And he said, who you caddy for? And I said, I caddy for Grant Wade. He goes, oh, last week a bigger money, huh? I died laughing at that. That was so funny. And then you might remember when Bubba and Steve Elkington got in that big scuffle or whatever it's called at New Orleans. And so they were arguing the whole back 9 and fussing at each other. And we were playing with Shigeki. And Shigeki had been for 2 rounds talking to us. Hey, how you doing? Good shot. Nice this, just normal conversation. Well, we get in the scoring tent, and the rules officials are trying to sort out like what's going on. And, they're talking because this is bad for our golf program. And what happened, Steve? What happened, Bubba? Okay, guys, calm down. You tell me. Okay, fine. Shigeki, what did you see? And he goes, oh, too much English. Like, you did not pull out the too much English card when you've been speaking English for 2 days, bro. Like, it was so funny. He like totally used that to his advantage. I was like, that was smart. That was really smart. So he went up another notch in my book.
Turned into Sammy Sosa all of a sudden. That's gonna get any of it, dude. I don't even know what you're talking about. Oh, that's so good. The hot tub story's good too.
So funny.
All right. Teddy, I know you're a big pickleball player. You love it. I also got to see Scottie on television play a little celebrity deal, and I was impressed. given he's the world #1 in golf, that he also had the pickle skills that he did. You and Scottie in pickle, what's the count?
So I started playing pretty much right when you probably first saw him play, and I got 1 point in 2 games off of him. He is really good. Now I would do much better. I struggle more with the mental aspect of playing him than I do the physical aspect. And he'll tell you, like, even in ping pong, when we were warming up, he's like, "Oh, you're going to be tough," but he beats me like 21-5, 21-6 because I get nervous playing against him. I don't know why. He's got the mental edge on me, but yeah, he's definitely the better player. He's got a lot of belief in himself, and he's also younger and faster. But I'm better looking, so I have that on him.
Way better looking,
and that ain't nothing, by the way.
What is he not good at?
You know what's interesting about him, Colt, is if he's going to do something, he's going to be great at it. And a funny story is I was at their house, and I'd never used a Breville espresso machine in my life, and I wanted a coffee. So they were all sleeping, so I just turned on YouTube, and it's like, "Oh, here's how you turn it on. Here's what you do." So I did that, and I pressed it, and all of a sudden he comes out. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Making coffee." He's like, "That's going to be terrible. Let me have that." And he literally had 6 sheets of paper, one for each bean, that he had like done the grinds, and he did it all perfect. And it was the best cup of coffee I'd ever had. I was like, "This is amazing." And that's just kind of how he is. Like, if he doesn't know something about something, he's fine. And he's very humble. He's like, "I don't know how to do that." But if he's going to do something, he's going to do it well. And the coffee is just another example. Like, he makes great coffee. He's really good at ping pong. He's really good at basketball, really good at golf, pickleball. And he thinks he wants to play tennis. And I'm like, "Bro, you're not that good. Come on." He can't serve yet. So, but yeah, he'll figure it out. I was showing him how to serve, and he's catching on quick, and he just likes to work at things and get better. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be good at that soon too.
There is no doubt he is one of the most competitive people you'll ever come across. He wants to win at everything.
I love the story. I love the story of Blake whenever he was 9 years old going, "Okay, you can play with the big boys. You just can't cry." And that shows like how passionate he is. Like, you can't cry for losing. Okay, you can play with him, but can't cry.
I tell everyone, he begged us to play the back tees with us when he was like 9 or 10 years old. And we're like, "You don't hit it far enough. You can't do it." And he's like, "Just one time." So we let him play the front 9 at Royal Oaks with us. And he goes out there, and the only hole he didn't play all the way back was number 9 because he couldn't clear the water. And he shot even par, and he couldn't get to any hole. But you could see right then, like, his golf knowledge, right? If the pin was on the left, he hit it over to the right, always left himself plenty of green to work with, and got every one of them up and down. I was like, this kid's different.
Yeah, he's special. He is very smart. I mean, he's got a very high intellect for not just golf, but life. You've spent enough time with him to know how smart he is. Really smart dude.
He's a sponge. He takes everything in. All right, last one from me. We're flipping the roles at the Zurich. Zurich's going to be a caddy tournament with the players on the bag. Okay, you can pick any caddy on the PGA Tour to be your partner at the Zurich. So you got to remember, it's best ball 2 days and alternate shot 2 days. Who's going to be your partner?
Man, I got to go with Paul Tesori, man. Paul Tesori is 4-time All-American. He talks a big game about how I can't play under pressure and everything. And every time I play with him, he shoots 68 and beats me and stripes it down the middle and putts the eyes out of it. And he's very competitive. So, yeah, I'd have to say Paul's one of my best buds and a heck of a golfer. If Damon Green was younger, I'd have went with Damon. But because Damon could play from my duck hook over on the left rough. He's really good at that too. I can hook it Bubba, but not on purpose. I just do it from the tee boxes mostly.
All right, beautiful. I was going to ask something similar in that, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. But I don't want the same answer twice. You're going out and you're playing the most important round of your life. You're the player in this instance, right? You got to get a loop, but it has to be a current player on the PGA Tour. Can't say Scottie Scheffler. Who do you want on your bag for you?
Current player on the PGA Tour. Webb Simpson, man. Definitely Webb.
Yeah. He's positive.
Yeah, Webb and I have the same humor. We send each other dumb dad jokes and memes and stuff, and he just always brings the same energy. I think for me, if I had a caddy, I want someone that the circumstances don't change my caddy. And I could say that spending enough time around Webb, he's always Webb Simpson every day of the week. It's like he's always smiling and happy and joyful, and it doesn't matter if he's 8 over or 8 under. He's Webb Simpson. So I would want that. Because I know I would be emotional. I'd be ready to throw clubs, and he'd be like, "Hey, man, it's all right," and tell me a dad joke, and it'd make me laugh, and we'd go get back to business.
He would also bring you a great cup of coffee because the man is psycho about his coffee.
There you go. That's it.
Travels with his own beans.
We had him on here.
We need to get contests between him and Scottie and see we'll have a taste test. Colt.
We had him on here, and he's like, I really think like the housekeepers at hotels think like I'm running a meth lab because I've got my scale, my beakers and all this in there just to measure out his coffee.
Yeah. I think he's a pour over guy, so he does the real fancy stuff.
It is.
He's lucky he flies private. He'd have a hell of a time getting through TSA. We got a bag full of unknown substance. We got some beakers.
Well, Ted, man, we can't thank you enough for coming on here. We really appreciate it. Congrats on such a great year. Love going with you and Scottie out there when I'm inside the ropes for CBS. But seriously, congratulations. This has been a blast hanging out with you.
Thank you very much for having me. And I want to give a shout out to our favorite coach, Randy Smith, who built the machine that we get to watch today. What a legend he is. And I tell him all the time, man, look, like I'm just kind of bumping your little machine to make sure it's running special. And it really is. So I love working with him and super happy to have gotten to know him as well. Him and Blake are great guys.
I'll say they are great. And just a little funny part of that. They said that on air one time that I used to work with Scottie Scheffler growing up as well. And Charles Barkley texted me, goes, "You and Scottie were the same coach? What the hell happened to you?"
Fair enough.
There is this thing called talent, Charles. Yeah. Believe it or not.
I got a really funny story real quick about Randy. You don't have to air it, but it's hilarious.
No, please.
So I was there at Royal Oaks. We were going to do some work, and I got there early. And I said, "Come on, coach, hook me up, So coach came over and watched me hit a few wedges. And, man, in 5 minutes had me just hitting the best, prettiest little low-flighted wedges I've ever hit in my entire life. And Scottie drives up, and it's probably 50 yards to the little cart path. And I turned around and hollered at him. I said, "All this time, I thought you were special. Turns out you got the greatest coach in the world. You suck." I screamed that across the whole range. Randy loved it. Scottie's like, "Shut up, caddy." So, yeah.
That's good. Randy is the best. No doubt about it. But seriously, Teddy, thank you again, man. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thanks, fellas. See you guys.
Be good. Thank you.
All right, that was the great Ted Scott joining us on Subpar. Man, what a great dude he is. Love talking to him. His stories are just all time. But I never even heard about the Bubba Watson shot on number 11 out of the bird's nest.
We'd covered two of the shots that I think were in the running. Obviously, the playoff shot by Bubba and then Tiger, at the Canadian Open. But I thought some of these guys have ones that it's Thursday morning, something of a shot that nobody's ever seen before. So as soon as he started going on that, I was like, oh, this is going to be something that we're not thinking of right now. And by the way, caddying, as good as Scottie is, it's boom, 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 just lasers. Watching Bubba golf, especially in his prime, was really fun to watch. So different, so fun. I loved watching him play golf. In fact, if there was a game that said, "Hey, you can have their golf game," who would you want it to be? He might have been it, just because all the cool stuff he could do, and he was hitting miles at the time. He was fun to watch, man.
And he said what I believe. For me, the first time walking around Augusta National several years ago, you got to be creative, one, but you have to be a great iron player who can hit their spots, because I don't think you can tell on TV how tiny the sections are where you have to hit it. And he's like he said, you can talk about being a great putter, but if you don't hit it in the right spot, you have no chance around there. And Bubba Watson was a great iron player. Scottie Scheffler is by far the best iron player on the planet, and that's why they had so much success. And I'm going to say this. I believe before it's all said and done, Ted Scott will be the all-time leader in wins around Augusta National as a caddy.
You think Scottie's got another one?
I think he's got at least another 2 in him.
You got another 2? Yeah, what's he, 1 back right now?
He's 1 back.
1 back? I'm not taking the bet. I wouldn't disagree with that right there.
You're not taking a bet? That's kind of weird.
And also, if you miss the portions of those greens, then it becomes lag putting. Lag putting, a huge piece of that as well. I used to see guys like Jordan Spieth done so well in the past. But he's had some horses for that thing, and they ain't done. Almost got into teaching.
Good choice.
I was gonna work up a question where I got they put the things out on Twitter Ted Scott is X on the money list with whatever his earnings were, and I was gonna go in and get it and be like, how much would you have had to charge per hour on an hourly rate to make what you would have made this? And it was gonna be a dumb number, but I didn't want to get into the money stuff with him. He's had a hell of a year, but he'd be the highest paid teacher in the world by a landslide. I'm $25,000 per 30 minutes.
Other than, as far as a golf decision goes, other than Randy Smith, I would say hiring Ted Scott was the best thing Scottie Scheffler has ever done.
They feel like they just mesh well. They're understand one another. They're super similar. I think they both keep each other level. Both of them, Ted was saying, when I played, I wanted to throw clubs. Scottie, when he first started, was a guy that could get a little hot under the collar, and it's somehow those two just level each other out. That's a perfect combination. And then also, you've mentioned it before, but Randy Smith, and he acknowledged him at the end, what he's done with Scottie. I am floored, and you've said this before as well, why aren't more guys knocking down his door? Golfers are such copycats. Somebody puts, Look at the putter Ricky and Wyndham used, and then all of a sudden the whole PGA Tour was using it. Like if something's working, guys will normally jack it and copy it. I don't know why more guys, and maybe they are. And Randy's like, I'm good. But if I was a guy out there right now and I was looking for something, I know where I'd go.
I've said it forever. I mean, obviously, I'm very biased. I'm super close with Randy, but it just blows me away that more guys haven't been like, hey, can you just take a look? Especially all the players that are in the Dallas area. Like when you're getting a little off, I mean, here's the best ball striker by a million miles. And yet, I mean, Ryan Palmer works with him. I know Gary Woodland's had lessons with him as well. But it shocks me every time. I'm just like, you're struggling. Maybe call that guy.
Yeah, when a golfer.
Man, am I glad I called that guy.
People that'll try. I mean, golfers will try anything that they think will help make a difference. And then here you got the guy that's coaching the greatest ball striker that we've seen since prime Tiger. He's got 2 of the best 3 years in the history of ball striking since they started keeping strokes gained.
Yep.
I mean, unless I was flushing it and loved everything that was going on, he'd be my first call.
Yep.
And he makes it simple, too.
Very simple, but love sitting down with Ted Scott. That was great. All right, let's get into a little football. As we're talking, I think the Saints just scored again on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Good God.
Who didn't score? You know who didn't just score again? The Broncos. Because we never fucking scored.
What are y'all averaging? About 6 points a game the last season?
Oh my God,
season
dude,
or so?
we gave up 13 and lost. I mean, we had 3. We had 0 at halftime. We got 3 and then got down to 4th and goal, kicked it to give ourselves a chance.
How are we feeling about that?
They are the most brutal team to watch play football in sport. The only good news is we're not on prime time anymore because they put us on there all the time when they thought Russ was going to deal. We are the most boring team in the history.
How are we feeling about the over 5.5?
I would have 1-1 in these first 2 games. I would have felt okay with. That's kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah,
rookie quarterback, all this stuff. 0-2 is tough because both of those ones are ones that are winnable, and we got some that I don't think are, going forward in the AFC West. It sucks. You guys got shelled too. It was a shit. TCU lost the heartbreaker, 21-point lead in the second half. Lose that by a point. Going into our big week for the Iron Skillet. It was
big week.
And I got dump trucked in gambling. It was all
right, so things sound good. Yeah,
it was tough. I'm reading Don't Kill Myself books.
I mean, I don't know if the Saints are really that good or just the defensive they played. I thought the Cowboys' defense was pretty good, but they go out there. They scored on like their first 15 possessions to start the season.
Every time the score would update on the bottom, I was like, God, they're just single time they touch it.
I think they scored 88 points to start the year.
Yeah, it's like the 4th most in history of football or something.
Jesus.
Derek Carr.
Look out
Stand
for them.
up.
By the way, my football bet did hit. I told you I like the Tampa Bay Bucks getting 7 at the Lions. Baker Mayfield continues. They won outright.
Well done. I'm back to 500 on the year. The Michigan Wolverines. I said I hate betting big favorites against dumpy teams. Lines are too big, but I thought they'd come back after win 28-3, I believe, with 5 minutes left. They give up 2 tubs. Don't cover.
Sad face.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week we're gonna have y'all help us decide what we're gonna do because we got the Iron Skillet, SMU,
as big as it gets.
TCU over in Dallas. They're coming over to where the nice part of town.
Going over to the little baby
the
stadium.
Nice part of town. No, the new stadium.
I know you're redoing. We're going over to the little high school stadium right now. Highland Park High School. We're going to go over there. Hopefully you guys have running water and shit for my boys.
Oh, my God.
You know what I mean?
By the way, our showers over at SMU make the ones up in Kohler look like nothing, okay?
No,
we
good.
do
as long as you got
actually used
good
Kohler.
shower.
We put Kohler in everything.
That's good. As long as you got a good shower.
But I did just see
the
video of the new end zone area we just totally rebuilt and the weight room and film room and everything. It's a joke.
There's going to be a lot of popped RLX collars at this game. You know what I mean?
There will be.
A lot of pastel colored pop collars.
With their collar stay.
Exactly. With a camo hat for the respective school.
All right.
That's it.
SMU catching 2.5 at home against TCU. We want to hear from y'all. Leave it in the comments below. What should our bet be between Sleaze and I?
Yeah. I'm curious to see where this goes. How do you feel? Both coming off L's, by the way. You guys had a bye week, though.
We had a bye week
to get your mind right.
We lost to freaking BYU. Are you kidding me?
Man, I mean,
18-15.
Can't sleep on those guys. Can you? Like, that's a Broncos score right there.
Now we got y'all, and then I believe we have our ACC opener against Florida State,
which is looking
not hot.
It's looking less terrifying than it did 3 weeks ago. They are broken. As sad as we are, like our team's lost game, we were hoping to be both unbeaten going into this thing. If you're a Florida State fan, I mean, that's a long fall from not losing a game last year to not being able to move the ball against anyone.
There was this great TikTok that came out yesterday, I believe. It was about some singer, and they listed his song because he was from Florida State. And then there's Jake Owen who sings "Barefoot Blue Jean Night," and then there's the Florida State Seminoles who are 0-3. It was all about Owens.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, they suck.
They're not good. That's actually a very winnable game for y'all.
We'll see what happens. But seriously, leave the comments below. What should Sleaze and I bet on the Iron Skillet? It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank y'all for listening. Thanks to RLX, Golf Kohler, Ted Scott. Awesome week. We'll talk to you on next week's Subpar.